high hang snatch. So we got a PVC pipe that we're using for our bar, so that way we can really unload the movement and kind of work on grooving. We have a 3/4 inch gym floor set up to give me a heel lift. And then for Olympic athletes, we're typically gonna have you in an Olympic shoe. You don't necessarily have to have the heel lift. I like to use the heel lift in addition to the Olympic shoe if we're having someone that's rehabbing back from a shoulder, from upper back, or from a hip injury, just because having that excessive heel lift reduces the load that goes through the hip. You don't have to have as much hip flexion, we don't have to have as much extension through our upper back, and we don't have to have as much shoulder extension because of that. So when we're doing a snatch, when we're getting into that catch position at the bottom, we really need to have a lot of flexion and extension to be able to catch the bar. You need to have great upper thoracic mobility to be able to augment or stabilize that shoulder in that catch position. And then you really need good hip mobility without having a ton of excessive arching in your back. If you're really arching in your back, that's gonna put you in a ton of hip flexion. So that's kind of why we're playing with our setup here. Now it's a lot harder to have the same kind of like bar path, so to speak, with a PVC pipe versus having a little bit of load. So in this video, we're talking about a high hang snatch. So we're just literally working on getting into our set position, hands in that snatch grip setup, and then whatever your power position is in terms of your feet, it's gonna be a little bit different for everybody. Mine is heels right under my hips, toes slightly turned out. And then the high position is I'm on the upper quarter of my thigh. So I'm not going down to mid thigh, I'm not going down to my knees or slightly below. This is what we kind of categorize as like a high hang snatch. So I'm gonna drop, and then what I'm doing is I'm trying to keep my chest upright, and I'm trying to drive and get up onto my toes. So I'm creating all that extension, and then I'm initiating with that shrug, right? And then the idea here is if I were to go quickly, as the bar gains momentum up, I'm gonna drop under it into my catch position and stand up. So really, this video is kind of filmed for a huge spectrum of individuals that are coming back, trying to get back to a snatch. So if you're someone that getting into a full squat right now is irritating with load, then we can work on a high snatch and then catching in a high position and standing up, right? Because the lower I squat, the more that's gonna put a load on my hip, upper back, and shoulder. So if you're someone who's dealing with a shoulder injury, typically we're not gonna have you catch all the way in that bottom position either, because that's gonna put more demand on the shoulder. Same for you if you're dealing with an upper back injury. So how you're gonna do this for yourself is do the high hang snatch, and then you're gonna catch, play with your position. Okay, that felt good, no problem. And then I'm gonna increase my depth a little bit, and then eventually I'm gonna try to catch in that bottom position and then stand back out of it. So typically what we'll do in your programming is we'll depict, hey, you're gonna do a high hang snatch, and then when you go to catch, you're gonna catch in like a quarter squat or a half squat or a full squat. Or if we don't depict, start with that progression and kind of work your way through just to make sure that you're not over irritating those joints that we're rehabbing back from.